Chapter 14. Not on any maps. We had been walking for 3 days, probably 20 miles a day without much food in our stomachs except for a few grubs and beetles. I tried to find berries and listen to the land, but I was feeling lost in this desert. I had hoped to find more messages from the people of the land, but no dreams or visions came. The animals had become more abundant the further east we got, but they were just as difficult for me to communicate with. You promised me we would head back after 3 days, Rebecca reminded me. I know, I said. Just give me until the end of the day. Do you really mean it? Are you really hearing me, or are you just telling me what I want to hear? She asked. Was I really listening to her and the land? Maybe she was right and I wasn't. Or maybe I was, but I was just going through the motions. I had my ear to the ground. I heard you, I lied, but you just need to give me some more time. I have a feeling this is going to work out. Just a little bit more time. You already had plenty of time, she said. This was fun at first, and I did everything I could to help you, but I don't want to die out here. If we start heading back, we can get to one of the safe houses, find some sustenance and maybe some new robes and regroup. Regroup and head back, I said. I know that's what you're thinking. Once we get there, you'll be able to convince me to head back, to abandon this completely. We have seen what we've seen. Why do we need to see the city eternal too? It's a stupid crusade, and I've put up with it long enough, she said. Stupid crusade, I repeated. Well, it's true. Do you really think your destiny lays out here in the middle of nowhere? Do you really think it's going to have some magical answer? She asked. It might, I said. You never know. Ugh, she said. You're so stubborn, and I'm headed back, with or without you. She looked west, then south. Then she groaned. You don't know which direction to go in, do you? I asked. I do, she said, and started walking south, the wrong direction. Rebecca, I called. I'm sorry. She ignored me and kept walking. You're going in the wrong direction, I yelled. She stopped and came back. You don't have to be so smug about it, she said. Now, are you going to point me in the right direction? She asked. No, I said. You can't make it anywhere without me, and I don't think I'll be able to make it to the city without your knowledge of history. So let's make a deal. She groaned. We go back at sunset, like you promised, she said. Just a few more days, I said. She groaned. Fine, she said. 2 more days, but then we go back no matter what. No matter what, I said. Thank you. Okay, so we need a plan, she insisted. I'm working on it. I've talked to all the mole rats here, and they assure me that the bear brush has fruits even we can eat, I said. I was looking forward to getting back, having a soak, but maybe this will be at least somewhat tolerable, especially if we can get actual food, she said. I looked at the sky. It was getting clearer, likely because we were further from Alpha City's pollution, and there were more and more plants and animals. I put my ear to the ground and listened. I listened to the wind and watched the stars, and we continued on east. We found more food and cactus water that day and set up camp under the stars. The desert assured me I was safe. I fell asleep deeply, and for the first time in a few days I had a vision. It was my mother again. She was in the desert. She was smiling at me from the distance. She said she was proud of me, but that I was being stubborn. I ran and ran to keep up, asking her what she meant, but she kept running away from me. What do you mean? I asked, but she kept running. She laughed. Her laughter turned into the Queen's. Then she jumped on my stomach. Again, she jumped on my stomach. Wait, I thought, this isn't part of the vision. And sure enough, I opened my eyes, and there was an Aleutian monkey sitting on my stomach. Unlike all the beetles and worms and birds who chanted, "Get away," he chanted, "Play, now, fun game. It good to have new friend." I sat up, and he jumped on a rock a few feet from me and stared. This is odd, I said, not knowing if he would understand me. Do you understand him? Rebecca asked, rubbing sleep from her eyes and looking askance at me. I nodded that I did. You're odd, he said, throwing berries and sticks at me. It was annoying, so I threw a few back. The monkey stomped his feet to get our attention. Others here say you will not listen, the monkey said. Say you stupid and stubborn. Not even listen to other humans. That is true, Rebecca noted. What others? I asked. The two wild humans, many plant people, many mole rats, he said. They say you don't understand desert. You not listen. I'm listening. I'm trying to. They're just too defensive, I said. No, he said emphatically and stomped his feet. You not listen. You make excuses. Chase me, he said. Why? I asked. If you don't, beetles eat you, he said, laughing. That's when I noticed the itching and burning, so I did what the monkey asked. I started chasing him. What are you doing? Rebecca yelled. You can't trust this monkey. We need to be careful. But what if he knows something? I asked. And what if he's just trying to trick you? She asked. I looked at the monkey who was chattering on top of a hill not far away. I saw her point. What was this monkey really trying to do? Why bother trying to help a random human? But I saw my mother in a vision, and when I woke up I saw a monkey, I said. But it was just a vision, she said. You can't trust it. Was there anything weird about the vision? I didn't say anything. There was, huh? Rebecca asked. So I should just give up on the chase? I asked Rebecca. Yes, Rebecca yelled. She seemed annoyed. He is right. You don't listen. Come, the monkey yelled. Come eat these leaves. No, thank you, I yelled. I don't need them. Yes, you do. You hear us better if you eat, he yelled. How do you know about that? I said. The monkey laughed. There has to be another way, I said. Isn't, he said. Unless what? I asked. Unless you agree to not lie, he yelled. His grimace suddenly disappeared. I got the feeling he was very, very serious. Okay, I promise, I said. I no believe, he said, jumping and chattering. What can we do? I asked. Rebecca rolled her eyes and looked at me skeptically. You prove yourself, he said. You go to council meeting. You do what they say, then I take you to the place not on any maps. I pulled Rebecca aside. This is very stupid, she said. We are going to be eaten alive or something if you follow them too far. Don't be silly. Maybe they will help us. You don't know exactly where the city is, I said, and neither do I. She groaned. It's a trick. They know those Opay people. They hear what your heart's desire is and play on it, and then they take advantage of you. Maybe, I said. And if that is what they were doing, I want you to run away. Follow that star. I pointed to the second brightest star in the sky. That will take you back to a cluster of gray houses, I said. Cloudy, don't do this. You know I can't get there myself, she said. You will be fine, I said. I didn't know if I believed it, but I said it. Then I did as the monkey wanted. I went in the direction the monkey pointed. There were other monkeys there, and a few bears and jaguars and other birds and animals all congregated around a huge banyan tree. They were loud and intimidating as they argued, and I bowed my head, and I came up upon the edge of its circle. It was suddenly silent. I could hear their anxiety, their fear, their pain. What do you want? A bear asked. Only to find out the truth about the city eternal, I said in his tongue. The bear gasped. You speak, but I don't know if I can trust you. You'll just be like the other humans who take what they want from us and turn away from the earth, he said, pointing with his nose to Far East Alpha Nation. I heard a rustling in the bushes. I couldn't see them, but I knew it was two humans from before, from Opay Nation. I tried to walk forward, but he walked back at the same pace. The bear huffed in disgust and disbelief. The bear then turned his head and sniffed me as the jaguar eyed me carefully. All the animals in turn inspected me, and then, when they were satisfied, they all left, all but the bear. They've decided to let you know the way, the bear said. No more and no less. I don't trust you, but it's not my decision to make. The bear then uncovered a sign that had been shrouded in kudzu. The city eternal, just 5 more miles, is what it read. I couldn't believe it. I was so excited. At last, I was going to have some answers. I came back to Rebecca and let her know what had transpired. She smiled, I think because she was glad this was almost over, and with her we walked until we came upon the huge, partly broken down concrete gates that sat at the entrance of the city. I was feeling so proud. You know, we could have both died, she said. I'm sorry, I said, but now we finally have our answer. She turned away. No, this has always been about you. You finding your answer, she said. I didn't know what to say, but I kept walking, and she kept walking beside me. We walked through the gates. I felt like a king of a long-forgotten kingdom. It was beautiful, full of trees and a long stone road to the center with futuristic buildings around, a perfect combination of nature and technology. I glanced around the city, both futuristic in design, yet each building incorporating the landscape. The trees, a few ponds. Then I walked right into a wall. I looked around. I recognized that they were similar constructs as the wall from Zebra Nation, only these walls were not orange, but almost invisible. Maybe we could go under them, I said. I stomped the ground and could sense that this stone road had to be several feet deep and decided, no, this would be very difficult to dig through. We could go over the wall then, I said. Rebecca said nothing. I looked at her. She was crying. She was really upset. I'm so sorry. I was such an idiot. Let's go back to Alpha City, I said. No, she said. We're here. Let's just get it over with, and if you're thinking of going over the wall, that'll probably get you sliced in half when you miss. So what then? I asked. Rebecca pointed to some towers. Those are guard towers, Rebecca said, or at least they used to be. I recognized them from some old history and architecture books and websites. That's where they kept watch on the city. Not really as a form of defense, more likely just to watch for possible friends. So you're thinking that could be a way in? I asked. I'm thinking that could be a way in, she said. I smiled. You know, I'm really glad you decided to help me out. She smiled back sadly. You know, she said, neither of us really had a choice. Well, let us make a future where we are the ones that make the choices, I said. And we walked into the city eternal, down the main boulevard, past rows of concrete buildings interspersed with lush gardens. It looked odd, like a termite mound with trees growing from it. I was shaking, not knowing what to expect. So you know why it's called the City Eternal, Rebecca asked. Is it because it's supposed to be a vision for a city that can last forever, I asked. Kinda, but no, Rebecca said. It's an acronym. Stands for the city, an experimental, technotopian, and ecotopian reserve for nature and living. They kind of forced that acronym, I said. Yeah, Rebecca laughed. They kind of did. It was good to hear her laugh again.